say? I annoy you. That's my one goal in life. What are you actually doing? Just hide.
A lot of people ask about the table on the drawer.
Quick enough because of Adam's back. So this is what's happened.
You know, this stuff, to me, it's important to carry, but it's not for everyone. You just got to pick and choose what you think is important for you. G'day everyone, Adam here, going overland. I've had recently quite a lot of requests to do a video of all the recovery gear and all the tools and everything we bring on our trips. Look, it's a video I didn't really want to make because it's a very specific video, probably a little bit boring for a lot of you guys. But look, I'll make it anyway because it's something that I think it's quite educational. Keep in mind though, this vehicle does not get used for work. It does school pickups, a bit of running around, date night we go in this vehicle, and also on all our trips. So this vehicle is probably a little bit heavier than your regular road vehicle. It does carry a bit of weight, so fuel efficiency is not as good as like Larissa's little runaround car we've got. Keep that in mind. So we always keep this vehicle fully loaded and ready to go. It just makes life a lot easier when you don't have to unpack and pack all the little things that you need for most trips. Whether it's a 50k stint up the beach not far from home, a 2,000 kilometre long weekend trip, or a 30,000 kilometre trip around Australia. You pretty much carry the same gear every trip. How do we do this? I think I'll just get all the gear out, lay it all out for you guys and quickly explain what it all is. Let's get into it. Okay, so in the front here we carry spare fuses, big ones and small ones. We've got binoculars, winch controller, mask for COVID, wet wipes, GoPro batteries, chargers. Also on top of the steering wheel, I have things like the tyre pressure gauge, the ARB deflator, which I think is fantastic. We always carry a maps book in case we're ever caught out with our phone service. The straps for the max tracks in case you're in sand and you lose those. Those straps can be real handy. And we've got the workshop manual for the patrol. So if something goes wrong, and hey, I'm not a mechanic, I can always jump on that book, read through it. I might get a better understanding. It might really help out. So definitely recommend carrying a workshop manual. No point carrying all these tools if you don't know how to fix something. So behind and under the back seat, there's a bit of room for storage. So we carry things like the jack, spare engine oil, water, tarps, a few things like that you might need to grab out quickly. A little bit bulky to fit in the back, and it's sort of a bit of dead space under there. You can't really pack too many things. We do throw some extra shoes under there when we're traveling, a couple extra jumpers, but most of the time you don't put extra stuff in there. We also do carry an inverter bolted to the rear drawers behind the seat. And in between the kids, we have a toolbox bag from Bunnings. The kids can put their drink bottles in there, plenty of food, some toys. Just makes it easier, a bit of a divider for the kids so they're not fighting all the time. Now, before I forget, on the roof racks we carry 2 sets of max tracks, which, as you probably saw on our Unimog rescue, real handy carrying those. We weren't far from civilization, but if we didn't carry those, there was no way we were getting that guy out. Solar panel on top. We got 2 awnings. This is the cheap ones from King's. It's something we don't use a lot of, so I'm happy you're running the cheap ones. Shower tent and a couple of lights up on top. This one's real handy above the shower tent. Put a switch up there. Flick it on. Light's already set up. There's a cheap King's light we got for free as well, so yeah, that's why we always carry that. And the bin bag on the back. That's always handy, carrying a bin bag. Even if you don't use it for rubbish, wet gear, recovery gear, real handy. Alright, so we move into the main storage area of the patrol. I've got some old mats that I've cut up. These are like yoga mats or kids camp mats with the reflective layer on one side. help out so much. It's incredible how on our trip you could touch the glass and nearly burn your hand, yet on the inside it was nice and cool. So we've got those. We've got the fridge in the back, just on a Dun & Watson drawer. It's real cheap. I think it was about 200 bucks for that slider. And these are the Outback roller drawers. These are super heavy duty. They are heavy though. Would I recommend them? I don't know. I'm actually thinking about tearing them out and putting something a lot lighter, because they are heavy. This system must weigh about 50 kilos without anything in it. But it is so strong though. All the tools are on one side. Don't know how much weight there is in there, but you could pull it all the way out. And before we had the fridge side, we'd actually just slide the fridge out and sit on top of the drawer. That's how strong they are. I think there might be a bit of overkill though, so yeah, but they don't rattle, they don't squeak. These systems, this is about 20 years old, had to do no work on it, so it is quality, but it is heavy. All right, let's start stripping gear out of here. Actually, before I do that, a lot of people asked about the table on the drawer. That's just a plywood table I made up with some guides on it. So super lightweight, cost nothing because I just had timber liner in, and super easy. It just, you can slide it forward, fits under there, no problem at all. So yeah, bit of plywood, cheap and easy, real handy too. This side is our toolbox, and as you can see, it's full of tools and spares. And both sides of the drawers, there's pockets there for storage, and we just carry things, a bit of recovery gear on this side, some sand pegs and normal pegs for our awnings, some ropes, and all our fluids, grease, brake fluid, some power steering fluid, definitely carry that. The other side's got more electrical gear on that side, and a little pop-up bucket. So let's strip it all out, get it on the tarp, and show you how much stuff we carry. Okay, so that's quite the collection of gear. So we've got recovery gear, we've got a snatch strap, winch extension, a tree trunk protector, 2 soft shackles, winch pulley, the controller, the air line for the compressor that's under the bonnet, jumper leads. We've got a tackle box full of all those little bits and pieces, electrical connections, some screws, some bolts, little zip ties, shrink wrap, not shrink wrap, what's that shrink stuff called? Who knows. All those little things. Full toolbox, everything, spanners, sockets, screwdrivers, pliers, soldering iron, hammer, file, hacksaw, wire cutters, little blower. So like a full toolkit, so we can do anything we need to on the car. For me, it's always a worry, doesn't matter how far you are from home, having to wait for a tow truck, if it's a day or two, for something that could be small. Something might be loose and you could just nip it up. Example of that, one of our brake calipers actually lost the bolt, and the brake come undone and hit the inside of the rim. If I didn't carry an 18mm socket or a spanner, I wouldn't have been able to discover that one of the recovery points is exactly the same size bolts as the brakes. So I could take it off, throw it on, 20 minutes we're back on the road. So if I had to wait for a tow truck where we were, it could have been 2 or 3 hour wait, then drive to town with the tow truck, wait for a mechanic, who knows. So this stuff, to me, it's important to carry, but it's not for everyone. You don't need to carry all this stuff. You just got to pick and choose what you think is important for you, and the time and experience will dictate to you what you want to bring. For us, for what we do, we go some pretty silly places, pretty remote. We are usually by ourselves, and we don't have the ability to rely on others. Yeah, so to me it's important to be safe, be responsible, and just be self-reliant. Other things we carry is tyre repair kits. We've got the plugs like everyone uses, but We also have patches so we can patch inside the tyres. And the reason why we carry a high lift jack is just for that reason. We can actually, with that jack, pop the tyre off the bead. We do have some tyre irons or tyre levers we carry in the trailer. And usually when we're really remote, we have the trailer with us. So we sort of split up some of the tools, things that we don't need, you know, just on a weekend trip. We've got a spare tyre, so a weekend trip, you have a tyre problem, you know, you put your spare on. But for a longer trip, those tyre irons live in the trailer. They'll be with us. We can pop the tyre off the bead, hopefully patch it from the inside, and yeah, go from there. Other thing we carry is we've got a box with a set of wheel bearings in there for the patrol, seals, spare radiator cap, spare radiator bottom plug, and a spare fitting for the fuel filter for the hand pump on it. What else have we got in there? Anything important? No. Carry a little hand pump for diesel. You can use it for siphoning fuel out of a tank, out of the jerry can, or if there's ever a blockage in the line or something, it might help out. So we carry that. And these are some of the punches, the repair kit I was saying for the inside of your tyre. So if you have an issue on your sidewall, these need to be glued on the inside. Spare fuel filter, a few O-rings and things like that, some gaskets. We've got a box here with just electrical gear, tank repair, some 2-part sort of araldite, gasket goo. Pretty boring stuff really, but it's important to have on a big trip. There's some wet and dry paper, there's a funnel, wire brush, some spare O-rings, thread tape, some spare wheel nuts and studs, thread lock, a couple of spare relays. Yeah, pretty boring stuff. Silicone tape, zip ties. That's a lot of gear. A couple more of the interesting things we carry. We carry a spare uni filter for the snorkel, some soap, wash your hands after you've done some work, some dishwashing gloves. If you've got to get real greasy, they're real handy to have. We've got a test light, soldering iron, and a multimeter. And we also carry some clear goggles. If you're ever working under a four-wheel drive, it's covered in mud and dust, these things will save you from getting mud and grit all in your eyes, and then you can't see for the next 3 days. So real handy to have a set of those, and a good set that's not covered in scratches and marks and rub marks, because if they're not in good condition and in a box, you can't see through them, you'll end up taking them off. So make sure you got a clean set. Fold up bucket, oil filter tool. For this car, this fits our fuel filter and oil filters. And these old trucks, you've got to service every 5,000 Ks. You'll be pulling those filters off. So this is real handy. If you ever get bad fuel on a trip, you'll need one of these to get your filter off, depending on your setup in your car. But we need this to get the filter off, even though you put it on hand. And we always carry a spare fuel filter and some fuel doctor. Real handy to have that stuff. And for those of you who have had bad fuel, you'll understand why. Now we also carry in the car a small first aid kit. We can take this one hiking. It's got pretty much your basic bit of everything. We do carry a big one in the camper that has absolutely everything. When you're in those remote spots, who knows what you might need. So it's got 3 of everything almost. Got some bug spray, toilet paper, that's essential. One of these spare microfiber towels, really handy. They're really small, soak up the moisture really well. Spare headlamp, and we've got a one of those waterproof bags. Now, we also carry in the back of the patrol spare hoses and belts. It's where the jack used to sit. We took that bracket out, and basically this whole panel here is full of radiator hoses, There's some spare fuel line. There's 2 sets of belts for the aircon, power steering and the alternator. What else is there? There's spare bushes for the shock absorbers, all that light stuff. Doesn't matter if it gets a bit of dirt and grease on it or grime. With those radiator hoses too, I did seal up both ends so the inside of the hoses are clean. I'm not going to pull it out because it's a pain in the ass to get to. So, but it just lives in behind here. I'll show you how to get to it, but you might have a few hidden areas on your vehicle where you can tuck things like that in. Alright, so that's everything we carry in the patrol for our trips. Like I said, for weekends away, long weekends, lap around Australia, this is pretty much our set and forget gear. Does pretty much everything I need it to do. So even when I'm working on the car at home, I try and use the tools that I carry in the car. Well, I know I've got everything I need. If something comes loose on the road, something breaks, you've got to pull something apart to get something else. It's important, I reckon, to carry those tools. It also comes down to your skill level as well, and your car. If your car's really high tech, mate, I don't know how much stuff you can do to it. It's up to you to determine, but this is what we carry. It's all our tools, all our recovery gear, get us out of any situation. Probably saw on our lap of Australia, there's even a video where I said all our breakages for our lap. I think there was something like 25 things went wrong. Pretty much everything I could sort out with this gear we run. Or you could live without, or you could wait till you get to the next town to sort it out. So, yeah, I know it's a bit of a boring video, but for you guys who want to know more of the detailed, intricate parts of traveling and overlanding and going remote, this might help you out. I won't be too specific with all the tools and everything, because every car is unique, every setup's different. But just let you know, we carry some gear, and it's heavy. I'd like to know what it all weighs. I reckon maybe 15 to 20 kilos, all this stuff. But in a pinch, in the middle of nowhere, it can be really important